So I just want to show you a few things as we're climbing up from the river down there. If you notice, you look, you see all the round cobblestone. Okay, it's everywhere, just perfectly round rocks. Some of it is oblong, but just round cobblestone everywhere. Okay, and it's mixed in with all the hard square edges. That's just stuff that's fallen away. But the higher you go, you keep seeing it. Okay, you just see small pieces of rings still everywhere. But in here, mixed in with the other stuff that's just fallen away, you'll see all the round cobblestone. Everything mixed in, it's round. Okay? And the only thing that'll make a rock round like that, or like this, is rolling in a river, okay? You'll see a lot of things in the mountains that have rounded edges that are smoothed, but that's different. These rocks, they'll start off big and they'll bust up hitting other rocks in the river, or they'll remain the same. And it takes a long time for these rocks to roll in a river and round. But since I've been up here, people have been digging in here in the side of the banks, looking for bedrock, which is just part of the tree, a massive part, okay? And they look for gold. So we'll go up there and I don't want to make this part of the video really long, but thought you might enjoy seeing this. So they'll get in and they'll dig, and you see this is just rings here, okay? This is one ring, and that's another one. And they'll dig in. That's just the side of another ring. They call it bedrock. Okay, and they'll dig in the side of the mountain, and they'll try to get down to one of the rings to where gold will settle. Okay, and you see here, it's the same thing here as in the gold mines. The caves, just the way the ledges are. Okay, they'll dig in there. They've dug all the way through this one to the other side, and they buried all this. All this was open at one time, and underneath there's round cobblestone as big as cars. Okay, there's one right there. I mean, that ain't really big. So they buried them all. But up here, in all these walls, and all this, and I'm way up from the river, okay? It's way down there. Let's see if I can get to it and show you. Okay, the river's way down there. Okay, so keep that in mind. But you see here, like I told you, this, the quartz, it's in the tree, okay? Anyway, my purpose for being up here and showing you all the cobblestone, all the round rock. Okay, it's mixed in with all this other stuff because a lot of it's rolled down the mountain and they've thrown it on here. But all this was exposed at one time, and you see all the giant, I mean, as big as a car, the cobblestone. So if you remember what I read you in Ezekiel 31 about the great rivers feeding the giant trees and the little rivers branching off the bigger rivers, okay? This river down here is just one of several that come down and they merge into one big one, okay? But this whole valley here at one time was a raging river thousands of years ago. And you know that because all the cobblestone way up here. And it just like it reads in Ezekiel 31, okay? The great rivers, you know, it fed all the giant trees. And if you look right here, this is just a small piece that's recognizable, okay? It's just a small, tiny part of a giant branch. And all these pieces here are just pieces and parts, okay? But all the cobblestone up here, okay? I'll just go down right down here and just show you a few pieces, okay? It's mixed in, okay? It's all just mixed in. But the river was all the way up here. It was a raging river that went down. And just because it's not Lebanon, it was the same everywhere, okay? Ezekiel 31 just happens to reference Lebanon, but it's no different. And this is just like a small chunk off of it could have been a tree, a plant, a shrub, a bush. Okay? So that's my purpose of coming up here, to connect it to Ezekiel 31. Before we go down, I wanted to show you this one more time. I thought you might want to see it. But you remember, these are all just rings here, each one of them going up, okay? This is part of a tree that's just laid sideways, or part of a branch. But they will get all the way back in there on their belly and fill buckets up, and they'll sweep this stuff. Because any gold that's in here will stop here on one of these rings and one of these ledges. I mean, they get way back there on their belly. You know, and this stuff could collapse at any time. But you look inside the gold mines and caves, you see the same thing in the ledges, but if it's an upright tree, these will be staggered ledge as they're going up, like I showed you in El Dorado Springs on that whole mountainside, and the ledges there, okay? Got Ruby in there exploring a little bit. What you think, girl? Huh? Yeah, she's pretty cool. Anyway, and then if you wash this stuff off here, I'll include a picture here of what it will look like, okay? It's just part of the tree, and they break down eternally. And from the outside, all kinds of different ways, okay? So we are going to head down. And I'll walk up here and show you a few more things. Remember how, just keep in mind how I showed you how the tree breaks down. Okay? All these pieces are, even if it's in a river that's rolled for years and it's round and not recognizable, it's just petrified wood. All of it. Just got to remember how the tree broke down. See, this is all petrified wood. All of it. It's just the way it breaks down. This whole thing. Let me go over here, I'll show you. And you know, so let me show you. So here's a small tree. See, there's part of it, another part that broke off. It's everywhere. So this is the tree. This is just the way I see it. This is a branch. And what comes off the branches are the twigs. Okay? On these trees, before the flood, a branch like this was larger than the largest trees we have on Earth today. They were that big. And I'll show you an example. Remember how I showed you how the tree breaks down? You'll see it in videos, you'll see it everywhere. All this is tree. They call it bedrock, but these are pieces like them that broke off. But I'll show you, this is a small branch here. Okay? If this end wasn't here exposed, and I just showed you that, you wouldn't understand what I'm talking about. The same with all this stuff. But you come over here, you can see this was part of a small, tiny twig like this. But these were hundreds of feet in diameter on these massive trees. See that? This right here that goes up is exactly the same as all that bedrock down there. They call it bedrock, but it's a tree. And all this, it's all the same. Okay? This, what you're looking at here, and all the way up and down this canyon, all that, it's the same as this. This just happened to get, see, this breaks off straight. Like I showed you them pieces, this is just a bigger one. You know, and these are smaller pieces. All this. Okay? But you see here, this is just the end of a small twig. I mean, massive. And you see how the edges are smooth from rain and snow over the 4,000 or 5,000 years. And you see the way the rings are. You're going to see this in a lot of the videos, like all this. Okay? You're going to see that. So this one here is pretty recognizable, but a lot of them aren't, unless you know what you're looking at. But it's all the same. Okay, and let's go look up here and see. You know, they call this bedrock. All it is petrified tree from the flood. You know, that's all this is, all of it. Same thing there with. You see the way it breaks off, just how I showed you. It's all petrified wood. It's just part of the rains. You got to understand how the tree breaks down. This video is very long, but it's going to expose a lot of lies when it comes to the flood and the large trees that were here. Okay? These were all branches, twigs. They're not part of the main tree. And if you look at, I'm going to put a video up of the Devil's Tower in Wyoming. You look behind it, the structure behind it, the way it is, it's all red. I believe it's all the nutrients and minerals that were in the tree and the soil. Because you see it's pretty consistent with other things like that. But you see here, it's all the same as what I just showed you. These are pieces that just break off flat and straight. See? Everything is straight, just like I showed you on that wood. It's no different back then as it is today. I don't care where you're at in the world or what mountains you're in. You see how all that's just smoothed and round. It just did that over time, and that piece right here that just fell off is part of a ring. You got to understand that. And I'll show you something kind of cool over here. So eventually it'll turn into sand. Okay? Let's see here. See, all this is the same. See that? That's just stuff that's been buried and has just deteriorated. But you see, this is all wood when you get up close. Hey, it's all wood. And if you understand how the tree breaks down, it makes perfect sense. But if you see, this stuff will eventually turn to sand when it weathers enough. All this turns to sand. See? It just turns to sand. But this is all wood. All this. Okay, but it's the whole side that's been buried and wet. That's all it is. But you're going to see a lot of this, just the way the tree breaks down. It's really important you understand that. And when you go to the mountains, no matter where you are in the world, and you get up close to this stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this stuff is everywhere. At banks, schools, apartments, landscaping. You know, up in South Dakota, it's kind of a special place. They have up near the monument and Crazy Horse, they have actual branches and twigs of these massive trees that are still laying on top of the ground. They're taking them and grinding them all up into small pieces to where they're not really recognizable, and they're putting them around as landscaping or burying them. And you'll see that in the videos, but I'm telling you, I'm going to show you that Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse, just two of many large mountains where the actual remains of giant trees. You see, these are pieces like I showed you that break off straight, like that piece of wood I showed you. It's the same exact thing. And remember, they're not all going to be dark brown. They're going to be all kinds of different colors. You see, now that it gets wet, you see. But you're going to see all kinds of different colors because there was different, just like today, different trees and shrubs and bushes and vegetation. And some of it is not recognizable because it rolls in a river, and I've probably already talked about that. But you see, all this, unless I showed you that piece over there where I'm going to go back, you would think that this is what they told you it was, the C4 pushing up. And it's a lie. It's part of massive tree branches that fell off the main tree. You know, like this mountain goes way up. And in some of my pictures, if you look at the way whether it's laying from the left to the right, right to left, or up and down, you'll know if it's a fallen tree, a large limb. But like if I just showed you this, you would think that it's just what they indoctrinated people to believe, that it's just bedrock. It is rock that's smooth and hard, but it's the remains of giant trees. And I'm going to show you over here. Okay, so you look, I showed you this. These are the rings. You're going to see them. This is a small one. You're going to see this in many of the videos the way it is. That's just the way it breaks down. Okay? It's really important that you get this. What are you doing, girl? Let's look at her a minute. Yeah. It's my best friend there, and my best friend number 2. Ruby. Very loyal companions. Anyway, But all this stuff I'm showing you here, just like I just did this, but it's important that you remember this, because you're going to see it on a massive scale. This is tiny. Okay? You come over here, we'll look at the side of it. Okay, like this piece here, this is just a small piece that broke off like I showed you in the wood. Okay? And you see here, that's all wood. It's just, it's rock. It's turned to stone. It's petrified. Maybe a piece just recently fell off of this. You see, it's like an undershot, like a. So there could be pieces down below there that had just recently fell away, exposing, look, what it really is. Okay. Remember how the pieces break off in the rings. Literally on a biblical scale. It's exposed. This is fresh. That's the wood. See that? That's how it breaks down. And they're saying that that's the sea floor that pushed up 160 billion years ago. Them aren't my numbers, that's their numbers. And I've probably said it once and I've said it before, they do it to hide God in creation. They don't want people knowing the truth. It's all about Ephesians 6:12. But this is exactly what it is, okay? That's just the end of a small piece that broke off that landed here. This thing towered up into the clouds for miles and miles. You know, and when you look at the tree, the mountains, everything I'm going to show you, it's the same. Just the way they break down. Okay, you're going to see it a lot in this video. But I hope this gives you a clear view of what I'm talking about. This looks like, you know, this here, I got pictures of stumps that look just like this. And I'm going to, when you get to that part in the video, just remember this piece here. And the small modern tree stumps that I show you, not stumps, but roots that come from it. It's the exact identical thing, but on a tiny scale. These are all pieces of the tree that just broke apart. All of it. So I'm going to end this one here. I hope so far you understand what I'm talking about, because they lie about the mountains, how they got here, about creation. It's all invisible. It's about controlling you, how you think and feel, and trying to keep people as far away from God and creation as possible. That's the absolute truth. And the same goes for NASA and their fake space. It's all a deception. I don't care how crazy it sounds, how ridiculous it sounds. If after watching this video it doesn't wake you up and show you that that's the truth, you at least got to ask yourself why. Because what I'm showing you is the truth. And what they tell you is absolute garbage. How could anybody know what happened 160 billion years ago? How could anybody know what a round ball with the center of the earth is? You know, it's just all bullshit. Well, I got a minute and a half left on this 15-minute video. I'm going to go right up here and see what we can see. But just remember, This is really important. All this you see here, everything, it's the same as this, okay? It's really important. If that wasn't there exposed, it would be hard for me to explain that to you. You know, the same as that. And then over there where I showed you where it was turning to sand. But go to the mountains, I don't care where you're at in the world. See, this is all wood, everything. You just got to understand how it breaks apart. All this, you go up there. It's all wood, all rings. That's all it is, everything. It's absolutely amazing. And I hope it gives you a different perspective on life and the truth. Like I said, I don't know where this video is going to fall in the main video. But if you see, let me get up on this rock and get an overview of everything. It's like this all the way up and down this canyon. Okay, this is all tree. All of it. The whole mountain. Anyway, guys, I'm going to continue on. Thanks for watching. You know, all this, all of it, everything, this is all wood. I don't care where you go. Ruby! Ruby, come here. Allie. Show it, girl. Ruby, what are you doing? Come on, let's go. Come on. It's just like the cedars in South Dakota and everywhere else. So I want to try to explain something to you. So you see the size of these. I mean, it's as big as a Volkswagen Beetle. So all that is part of a limb, okay? Part of a twig, part of a branch. So you remember, you get one little piece like this off of a 3-foot diameter branch in today's world. So you get a piece like this that's as big as a bus. How big was the branch that it came off of? 100 feet in diameter? It's just crazy. The girls love it up here. Allie does good on her 3 legs. Yeah, this is just like in South Dakota. The rings. And when we get to the El Dorado Springs part, your mind's going to be absolutely blown. It really is. So all these pieces are just tiny pieces of a massive branch. So I stumbled across a small, tiny piece of a branch. So if you can picture them pieces I show you with all the flat edges, everything, not just, it's all of it. So if this piece right here, okay, this would petrify eventually in the right conditions. And you see this piece right here compared to the actual size it came from. So if this piece was as big as an apartment building or a bus, imagine how big the branch was. Imagine how big one of these were coming off of the tree. Hundreds of feet in diameter. To pull one little piece off of it to be the size of a bus, it is just incredible. There's your bedrock. It's just all wood. That's all it is. It just goes on and on and on. Here's my little demonstration site. Yeah, you'll see areas like this in the whole mountain. The whole mountainside will be like that. Just one massive branch. Just see around a knot all the things it does. This is the rings, like the side of that mountain I showed you. Them rings that were just like this were like 3 feet thick. Imagine how big that tree was, or the branch. See each one of them rings running vertical. This is the same thing. This is kind of a side view. And then you see the rings. When you get around like other branches, it'll do all kinds of stuff. It'll curve, it'll swirl. You know, it's just the way a tree breaks down. And then, like I've showed you, you get one of these pieces that break off like this that I've been showing you. You see it could break down more into all kinds of smaller pieces. That's why a lot of the small pieces even are flat. Okay? But you know, you see how big this is. Okay? And you see what size it came off of. That's just part of it. So a lot of this is missing. But if this was as big as a bus or an apartment building, like some of the things I've shown you, just imagine how big. This would just be a small piece off of a 100, 200 foot branch in diameter. You know, and this piece I could break up again. And you see the rings in there. See, like that piece that I showed you back there, where it was laying like this, and I showed you pieces of the ring. This is all it is. Sometimes they get filled in from just sediment and minerals that in the air, the dirt. Okay. So this piece here is no different than I just showed you. Okay. It's smoothed. It has smooth and rounded. Okay. You see the rings in it. Okay. This is just a tiny piece. You see the flat edge there. Okay. It's just smooth and rounded. We go over here. Okay. You see this end? It's flat. Just like it breaks off. You see this is wood. Okay. This piece here is bigger than a full-size truck. It's huge. Okay. And you get into here, I'll show you, it's all wood. Okay. It's got snow on it, but there's enough exposed. And then I'll show you the rings on this side. Okay. That's all it is, just a tiny piece. Watch, I'm going to pause this a second. I need to go get one of them pieces. So I got the piece I needed, but I just wanted to show you this. They're everywhere, okay? The whole mountain. Up there, right there. Everything. Remember, the whole mountain was a giant tree, okay? Let me show you this. So I'm going to explain this to you here. So, you see how it breaks off flat and you got ledges. You see the rings. Okay. Even though this is smooth and rounded, let me get this piece. It's still going to have the rings in it, okay? I don't know if you can see that or not. It's still going to have the rings, okay? It's just, these are rough and choppy on this small piece. But this has been smooth from water running over it. But that's all it is. It's one of these. They could be bigger, but they're always going to have a flat edge no matter how they keep breaking apart, okay? They'll always have a flat edge, and you see here, there's the rings. You're always going to see the rings, okay? Not always, but most of the time. And that's what we see, okay? Okay, this piece up here. This piece here could have came off of this piece. Okay, you see the rings. That's all it is, okay? Everything, every rock, every piece, all the way up to the very top. Okay? Every piece is flat. This piece came off of a bigger piece, just like I showed you how they can get hit or fall down the mountain and they just continually break apart. Some pieces stay big, some pieces get small, okay? That's all that happens. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that and carry on. Okay, we talked about the bedrock. I was hoping I'd be able to show you this, but it's covered by snow, not all of it. But this whole mountainside right here, okay? Is nothing but a flat piece. It's like this, okay? It's all wood. All of it. They call it bedrock. But it's just fallen tree. All of it. Okay? And you see that? And then it just, see, it just breaks up. That's all it is. This whole mountainside along here is this right here. It's just a massive fallen piece of a tree. It's not the sea floor, okay? It's just all wood. Okay, let me go over here and see if, actually I'm gonna try to walk across this. Let me pause this a second. Well, that wasn't too difficult. My God, it's only 4 feet. But I had my camera in my hand. Hit away. Okay, you see here, this is all wood. and it just continues all the way up the mountain. The whole thing, all of it, it's just covered by rocks and snow and stuff, but it's all the same thing. Okay. Okay, let me show you. So then you get into different kinds of the grain, and it goes from what's recognizable like this to what some would call granite, quartz. It's just, you got to understand, the tree is not all going to be like this inside of it. Okay, there's all kinds of different thick bands of different grain and colors. And when it hardened, it turned into other things. Okay? I'm going to go over here and see what this looks like. So hold on. So I'm just going to let you walk with me. But you know, as you walk, I tell you about all these little pieces. Okay? People think petrified wood's something special, but it comes in all different colors. That's just a small piece. Okay? And it's not always recognizable. Okay? You see here, these are just some rings. Okay? That's all it is. These are just bits and pieces. But typically it's always going to have the flat edge. Okay? God, these are just tiny pieces. So what you're going to see now is probably just, if you haven't seen it, you're going to, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. But I showed you part of the bedrock, okay? You're going to see this. Remember, I just showed you how the tree breaks up. Everything's flat. Okay, this is all pieces. All this could have been part of the roots. Okay, I don't know if you understand what I'm talking about, but you will in when this part of the video comes up. Okay, this is all bedrock, but it's all part of a tree. Okay, I'll show you. You're gonna see this, so I don't want to show you things twice and do repeats. You can't see it because of the snow, but in the other video you will. All this whole area, you can't see it now. Okay, you see here's a small part of a small branch. Okay, this thing goes all the way down. Okay, and it goes all the way up. So you see what that is. Okay, and you see it's the same thing as over there that I just showed you, and it's the same as all this that runs through there. You'll see that in a different video. Okay, I just don't want to do this twice, but it looks like I am. You see here, these are nothing but rings. Okay, that's all they are. Remember how the tree breaks apart. Okay, all this goes up and up and up. This whole mountainside, everything. Okay? We're just gonna go right over here. You know, any national forest anywhere in the world, it don't matter, okay? Now that you have new eyes, you'll be able to see it. There's a piece like this up in Red Rocks that I filmed, but it's the whole mountainside that looks like this, okay? And there's another section in El Dorado Springs where you see these humps. In the video, I don't know if it's bark, which you'll understand when you get there, or if it's just this, and all of it turned on side to where you see all this pattern. But that's why I say you got to retain the memory of what I tell you. So or explain to you. So when you get there, you'll understand that what I've explained about it when I'm showing you other things. Okay? And you see right there, there's a small quartz vein. It looks more like granite. But I'm telling you, you see it runs all the way up through here. It's just part of the tree, okay? And that's what the miners and stuff look for when they're searching for gold veins, silver veins, okay? All this, I mean, it's covered by snow, but you'll see a video somewhere in this main video, okay? You know what this is, it's pretty obvious, okay? This was no different than over there, them rings, yeah. This is just small, this right here is probably off the giant trees, you know, like this is a tiny one, but you got the tree, the branch, and the little twig that comes off of it, okay? The tiniest part. This was probably a twig. It's just, you know, it's got to be from the size of these trees. And you know, you drive through the canyons, these mountains go up thousands of feet. And that's just the bottom of the tree. Everything else, the top of the tree, is down below. It's just a pile up. And everything you see here is just what's on top, what's exposed. Like I say, a lot of it's not recognizable, but a lot of it is. So you see this, okay? Right there. That. Okay? We know what it comes off of. Okay? You come over here, you could see rings in there. A lot of it's just falling away. This is all the same thing. Okay, this is all a different kind of tree. I don't know what kind. I don't believe it's a cedar tree, but there are cedars in here. But you look here, and this goes down who knows how far. I know I've said that before, but you know, it's just beautiful. The total destruction of God's creation, and all the smaller trees you see now is just a beginning of a new era of creation. That's all it is. Remember how the tree broke down? Okay, every little piece. You can go here. They're just bits and pieces, even the tiny small ones you see there. Okay? They're everywhere. The whole mountain. Alright. You should hear the water running underneath this ice. It's pretty cool. Alright, we're going to leave it at that for right now. So we're just going to kind of do some random shots of what's recognizable and what's not. Okay? Everything's in plain sight. Okay. Yeah, the flat edge. You know, stuff like this is not recognizable, but we know what it is. These are just like some rings that are laying there. Kind of like the flat irons in red rocks. Same concept, that's all it is. Hey, come over here. This is kind of a cool piece. Hey, not that one, but remember how everything breaks off flat? This is kind of a cool piece. It's just how it breaks apart. And you know, you'll see all these little pieces laying around and the river, and this is where they come from. You know, and then they roll in a river and they get rounded, you know, like that. And People just look at them as rocks. But you'll see rocks in the river that's same stuff. It's just rolled and got round and it's not recognizable. Okay? That's all it is. Everything. You know, like this stuff, it's really hard to recognize. But it's all the same stuff. Okay? You know, you can come right here on this mountainside. Okay, it's all the same stuff. It's just a lot of it just falling away. You can go all the way up there to the very top. Okay? It's all the same thing. These things were enormous. Just like the Bible says. That piece I just showed you over there, it's the same thing, but you see there's different grains in the tree, different colors. That's all it is. Looks like the girls may have found a field mouse. They're looking. Where is it, Allie? Huh? Where is it? She does pretty darn good on 3 legs. She's so funny. Where is it, Allie? It's right there. Get it. Where is it? She's so serious. She's a hunter, though. Anyway, but yeah, it's all you can see here. It's up there in South Dakota. You see the mountainside. Before I got in, it's just all the different colors. But over there, it's even on a more massive scale. All right, we're gonna go down here. Okay, well this stuff is really gonna blow your mind. I mean, like I said earlier in the video, I wish you had a peripheral vision instead of through a square box, because it's incredible. I mean, it really is. I want to show you this. This is a really good piece of just how they break down from the tree, okay? I mean, it's just amazing. We'll walk over there, okay? Everything's got ice on it. See, this is no different than the pieces I showed you, okay? It's a pretty good one that's intact and hasn't deteriorated. But all this stuff here, all these pieces is the same thing, okay? Some of it's recognizable and some of it's not. Okay? So I'm going to go back over here. Okay, I'm back over here. But just remember how everything breaks down. It's the same thing, and all this is falling away. It's so crazy. That's all it is, and then just a bunch of rings. A lot of it's falling away. It's all wood. Just a big old petrified tree, parts of it. Okay, remember I showed you up in South Dakota, this is just on a smaller scale, okay? It's the same exact thing. These ones are laying at an angle. That's all it is. It's just rings. Like a cutout side view. Okay, that's all it is. You know, a lot of it falls away. That is all it is. You see all the rings. See, it's everywhere, okay? So you may have seen this, or you may not have. But you know, just like up in South Dakota, in a lot of places like Red Rocks with the giant cedars, You see, wood has all kinds of different textures in it. Wood does some strange things. It's one thing I've learned over this year and a half. Wood is, so you'll see these dark bands, the lighter bands, different shades of brown. You'll see it's the same thing as in South Dakota, Red Rocks, all the giant cedars. It's the same thing. This is just on a small scale. That band right there is probably 2 feet wide, 3 feet. But in some of the bigger trees or branches, they are 10 feet, 8 feet, 5 feet. They're much bigger, okay? It's just the way wood is. You can look at wood on the internet. I'll try to put some pictures, but you know, when I'm trying to go through literally thousands upon thousands and thousands of pictures and videos and trying to compile everything to where it makes sense, it's mentally draining. But I'm cut out for the job, okay? Just want you to understand that. How trees are. And that's why sometimes I'll run into something later on, and that's why it's important to remember what I say and what I show, to retain the memory, so you can fall back in your mind and remember something I showed you or said. Okay? You know, you could just see here, I mean, it's everywhere, the little tiny rings. When you go to the mountains and with new eyes, oh, you're going to be walking on a different planet. Okay? Alright, we're going to call this good for right now. This is another little spot right around the corner. But you know, it's just the way everything breaks down. Over 4,000 years, things have fallen away and eroded and smoothed and rounded. That's all it is. Let's see what the girls are doing. They're eating grass. Boy, she does pretty good on 3 legs. When I first brought her home, she wasn't as agile as she is now. It took her a while to build up different muscles. But you can't stop her. Very obedient, very good dogs. I don't tell them anything, they just know what to do. Alright, we're going to move on. So I just wanted to explain this. You may see it later on in the video, but you know, these are all like small square pieces, really rough corners, but it's all just tiny pieces of different trees and plants and shrubs and bushes. That's all it is. You can see the rings there in that. Okay, it's just a whole bunch of parts, like a crumbled up cracker. Okay, and then all this stuff here rolls in the river. Not this river, this is a little stream, but it rolls in a river and it becomes rounded to where it's not recognizable. That's why all the rock you see outside that's round for landscaping, it's all originated from bigger things to smaller things like this. And most all this stuff has a flat edge. You know, here's bigger stuff. Okay, everything right there. Okay, it don't matter where you're at. It's everywhere. Okay? It really don't matter. But I just wanted to point that out, that all these rough square pieces come from different trees, plants, shrub, bushes, vegetation that petrified. And then it rolls in a river, and then it'll become round, like something like this, that's not recognizable, okay? But everything you see here is just parts of trees, bushes, plants, shrubs, vegetation, all of it, every single piece. You go down on a river, a bigger river, the inside turns have the sand, it's the weakest part of the river. The outside turns, depending on the sharpness and the speed and the size of the river, will drop cobblestone, a gravel bar, and most all the rocks are going to be round. But they started off as big pieces like that, and then they get crushed and banged up in the river or falling down the mountain to smaller pieces, and eventually they'll turn into sand and return right back to the earth. Okay? Alright, we're gonna leave it at that. Just shooting another piece real quick. It's a pretty good size, but like I say, they're everywhere. It really don't matter. It all comes from up top. That's all it does. It just falls down from up there, comes down here. It's pretty crazy. I mean, I haven't moved 5 feet, but it's just incredible. There's field mice and all that tall grass. They keep pretty busy. Oh boy. Okay. You know, and then you get, where's it at? Then you get Jose. Oh, shit. Yeah, they come out here, and Jose loves that. You know, there's these people that just come out here and they just destroy what little beauty there is left in this world. That's pretty funny. Jeez, oh man. All right. So this is just going to be a short video of, I don't know where it's going to go in the main video, but you have to understand how a tree breaks down in modern times. These mountains were giant trees and they break down the same exact way, and I'm going to show you. So you see they break vertically and horizontally. This whole mountain, everything is the same way. This is nothing but rock, which is petrified wood. You see the way it breaks up. This is just part of a giant twig, a tiny twig that were on these trees that spanned for miles. They reached into the heavens. If you watch the whole video, you'll understand how this breaks down like this. I'm going to show you another good example across the street. You see, this is all petrified wood. All of it. The whole mountain is the same thing, except so much has fallen away over the years. It's the same thing everywhere. And then you come over here, you can really see it good. Let me back up the camera. You'll see the way it breaks down and splits. Okay? This is all wood, every bit of it. See the way it breaks down, and I'll show it. You'll see if you watch the entire video, it'll all make sense. This is all wood. The whole mountain. Well, like I say, so much has fallen away over, the thousands of years since the flood. Okay, this is all wood. All of it. You see the way it breaks down. Okay? The way it splits vertically and horizontally. Show you some more here. But you got to get up close on it and see it. This is all wood. The whole mountain, all of them. And I'll have pictures of wood today in modern times on a much smaller scale that does the same exact thing. But like I say, this is all wood, everything. Okay? But so much of everything has just fallen away over the years and deteriorated. All this, it's just wood, all of it. So I'm going to stop this video here and continue up the mountain and just find more stuff for you to see. But if you look at the way this breaks down, you'll see it in modern day times in the wood, the way it splits and breaks apart. It's all wood, every bit of it. Yeah, it's all wood. It's stone, but it used to be wood before the flood. Okay, I'm going to continue.